Welcome into Mock Trial Masterclass, your guide to controlling the courtroom. I'm Luke and I want you to be a mock trial master. Let's talk about how you can make that happen. Today I want to talk to you about what I think is the most important quality to succeed in mock trial. And I'm not going to bury the lead, I'm talking about confidence. Now, I'm not just going to end the video there because I could just say, hey, go be confident, but that wouldn't give you very much to work with. Instead, I want to give you some tools that will help build your confidence as a mock trial competitor. Specifically, I want to tell you 3 things you can do as a mock trial competitor, whether you're an attorney or a witness, to appear confident and compete with confidence. Because like I said, it is the single most important quality to success in mock trial. And if I'm scoring around and I've got one maybe attorney who's super confident over here and one on the other side who's not, the confident attorney is always going to get my higher score. So let's hop in and talk about 3 things you can do at your next competition to be more confident. Ready to go? Let's hop in. My first tip for being confident as a competitor in mock trial is to practice to the point where you are comfortable. A lot of confidence in mock trial and really anything in life goes back to your level of preparation leading into whatever it is you're doing. And if you're going into a mock trial tournament and you haven't practiced that much, you haven't spent a lot of time developing the scripts for whatever you're going to say, you're just kind of winging it and hoping for the best, then yeah, you're not going to be very confident because you're walking into that environment unprepared. It's like taking a test that you haven't studied for, right? You're going to be super stressed out. You're not going to know the answers to any of the questions. But if you've studied for the test, you can go in there with some confidence that you're going to be able to perform well. And the same is true for mock trial. If you practice to the point where you're comfortable, you'll walk into a mock trial tournament feeling prepared. You'll feel like you know what you're going to say. You're a little more equipped to roll with the punches and to handle whatever the other team throws at you. You just can't overstate the importance of practice and preparation as it relates to confidence in mock trial. So I would encourage you, make the most of your practice time. When you're at practice with your teammates, really dig in. Don't be sitting on the corner on Facebook or just kind of halfway doing it. Use that time to the max. And then I would also encourage you to work on your own performance outside of practice. The best competitors that I've run across in my 10 years of doing this did not limit their mock trial practice time to literal practice time. They all worked on themselves outside of practice. They're at home studying the rules of evidence if they're an attorney, or working on their character, learning their witness statement if they are a witness. The best competitors do stuff outside of practice, and that needs to be your approach too if you really want to get to the level where you're confident. So that is my first tip. If you want to be confident in mock trial, so much of that comes down to your level of preparation, which is why you have to practice to the point where you're comfortable. Tip number 2 for being confident as a mock trial competitor is to roll with the punches. I was meeting with a team recently and they said, Luke, how are we supposed to be confident when stuff gets thrown at us that we're not expecting? And my response to them is, you just got to roll with the punches. Now, it's a lot easier said than done sometimes, but what I will promise you is that in situations where something unexpected happens, if instead of freaking out and going, oh, I don't know what to do, we weren't ready for that, you take a moment, pause, breathe, and then think to yourself really quickly, okay, this thing just happened. I wasn't expecting it. How do I respond to it? What's the right thing to do? And go with your gut. That is going to get you a lot further than freaking out. And here's what I'll tell you too. Even if you're wrong, right? Even if in that moment you come up with a solution that's maybe not the best one, or maybe if you had more time to sit and think about it, or maybe if you were expecting, whatever it is that just happened, you'd come up with something better. Just simply coming up with something and going for it with everything you have is going to put you in a much better place to succeed than getting really nervous and antsy and just kind of going, I don't really know what to do. My script is now ruined and I don't have any options, right? That never works. Rolling with the punches always works. And you've really just got to go into your trials with that mindset. It should not surprise you when something occurs that you were not planning on. Yes, it surprises you in the sense of you weren't planning on it, but you shouldn't walk in there and go, well, gee, the other side made an objection that I wasn't expecting. That's weird, right? No, of course things are going to happen within the course of a mock trial round that you weren't expecting. You've got to roll with those punches. I would even spend time in practice, kind of going back to our first tip, working on rolling with the punches. Have your teammates throw some out of left field objections at you so you can practice responding to them in the moment. Even if they're completely ridiculous, it'll still get you in the right headspace. It'll give you some reps at responding in the moment and rolling with the punches. It's such an important part of being confident as a mock trial competitor. So you got to do the work that it takes and make the mindset shift that it takes to roll with the punches effectively. Before we get into my third tip for being a confident mock trial competitor, I want to remind you guys that my book, Mock Trial Masterclass, is available on Amazon. This book is your deep dive into every area of mock trial, and it's your game plan for taking your openings, closings, objections, direct examination, cross-examination, all that stuff to the next level. It's super easy to read, it's easy to follow, and it won't take you that long to get through it. But with that minimal effort will come big time results. And you can pick up a copy by clicking the link in the description on YouTube or in the show notes on podcast platforms. All right, my third tip for being a confident mock trial competitor, and this is probably my favorite one, fake it till you make it. Here's the thing. If you walk into a mock trial round and you're feeling really tense and nervous on the inside and you're asking yourself, why did I even sign up for this activity? Turns out you're not required to display that nervousness to others. Now, I agree, it's easier said than done to not seem nervous when you really are. But here's what I'm talking about. If you're ever unsure of yourself in a mock trial competition, you have two options. Let's say the other side objects to relevance and you're going to respond and say, Your Honor, that's relevant because it goes to credibility. Maybe in your head, you're not even sure whether that's the right answer. Does this actually go to credibility? So you have two options in that moment, as I see it. Okay, option number one is, Your Honor, we believe that this goes to the credibility of the witness. That's option one. Option two is, Your Honor, this is relevant because it goes to credibility. Now let me ask you this question. Exact same response. Same level of uncertainty. I'm not sure if this is right. Which one is going to yield the better results? I have seen plenty of judges rule for attorneys who were wrong simply because they were confident and looked like they were right. And so my encouragement to you is, if you're ever unsure of yourself, don't let anyone else see it. Now, this doesn't apply to life, right? I'm not saying that if you're going through some kind of struggle that you need to be machismo and fake it till you make it and not tell your friends about it. I'm talking about purely within the context of a mock trial round. You should never let anyone else see or tell that you're nervous or not sure of yourself. You should project confidence. Let me tell you one of my favorite stories to illustrate this point from when I was a mock trial competitor in high school. I don't know that I would recommend this to anyone, but it just shows the power of what I'm talking about. I was giving a direct examination to one of the witnesses on our team, and the other team stood up and made the outside the universe, outside the scope of mock trial, invention of fact objection. And I sat there in that moment and thought to myself, you know what, now that I think about it, this probably is technically an invention of fact. So what I decided to do was I looked at that judge and I came to the realization that they were kind of checked out and weren't paying a whole lot of attention. So the other side made that objection and I looked at the judge and I said, Your Honor, actually this is in the witness statement and I'd be happy to show it to you if you'd like, knowing full well that that judge wanted to keep things moving. And what he said was, oh no, that's okay, Mr. Worsham, we'll just keep going, that's fine. Now, do I recommend lying to the judge and bluffing the judge in a mock trial round? Probably not. That may not have been the best decision to make, because what if the judge had called my bluff? Would not have gone well. However, the takeaway from that story is I was wrong, but I won the exchange and got to keep doing what I was doing simply because the judge thought I was right based on my attitude and the charisma that I brought to the situation. And that's exactly what I want you to do. Again, recap, don't lie to the judge. Don't do that. Terrible idea. But do be confident. Fake it till you make it if that's what you have to do. It takes a long time in mock trial to know every rule of evidence and every procedural rule and every, tip for what makes the best cross and to respond in the moment. You're not always going to be completely composed and ready to go at every point of the competition. That's totally okay. No one is expecting that. What they are expecting is for you to project confidence. That's what I want you to do, and if you follow these 3 tips, that's exactly what you will do at your next competition.